And welcome to my channel. In this video I'll show you how to change the transmission fluid and filter on a 2000, this car is specifically a 2017 Toyota RAV4, but this applies to the 2013 to 17 models, as well as many other Toyotas that come equipped without a transmission dipstick. You'll need a jack and 4 jack stands, and maybe some pieces of wood if the ground is not flat. To you'll have to measure whether or not the car is level on the jack stands, and then make the necessary adjustments by placing a piece of wood underneath the jack stands, or spacers on top of the jack stands, however you want to do it. But you'll have to remove the front driver tire in order to get to that cover in the center of the shot right now. That's where behind that is the filler hole. There are 4 fasteners, 2 on top as you see here and 2 in the bottom on the 2 corners. You'll have to remove these fasteners in order to get to the filler plug, and you'll need a 24 millimeter socket in order to remove this. I'll have the torque specs either in the description or I'll add them to the video. So once you you want to first crack the filler plug open, as I just did, to make sure that you can do that before you drain any of the fluid. And then you'll get to the bottom of the pan is right there by the tire, so you'll need a 6 millimeter Allen socket in order to remove first the plug, and as soon as most of the oil is drained, then you can use the same socket. There's a plastic filler above that that you'll have to get to and remove that. So some of the fluid will come out, and then when you remove the plastic filler, then the rest of what's in the pan will come out. And so you'll have to do this job. The Toyota manual suggests every 60,000 miles, so that's really a good interval to do this. You'll need about probably a gallon of transmission oil, the Toyota World Standard transmission oil, because what will drain out of the pan, usually it's about between 2 to 2.5 quarts, and if you remove the filter, another quart or so may come out. So you may lose or drain about anywhere from 2.5 to 3 quarts of oil. And so you want to have more than that, because as you will see in a minute, you'll have to fill what you have, and you'll have to measure, so some sort of a measuring vessel, just to see how much you've collected. And you need a drain pan, of course, underneath the pan to catch everything. And so you'll have to measure that and then replace the same amount plus some. And in this video I'm adding a full liter of additional oil in addition to what I take out. And so once you remove this plastic, in this case it's a green plastic filler, but they could come in different colors. So once you remove that, then the rest of the oil will come out of the pan. And then you'll need a 10 millimeter socket. There are just a whole bunch of bolts all around the pan, unlike some other cars, like the Mercedes cars, have probably a third of the bolts, or less than half, but here they're just I didn't count. I lost count of how many, but there are many of those bolts. So once you drain everything out, replace the plug, and you don't have to torque it. Just tighten it, and then so that nothing drains out while you're opening all these 10 millimeter bolts that hold the pan to the transmission. And so this will take a little time, and once you have removed all of them, remove all but probably two on the two sides, and leave those for the last part of the job. So because you'll need to place your hand underneath the pan as you remove the last two, and then tilt the pan from one side down, so that whatever is left in the pan is not going to fall all over you. And so I'm making the assumption that you're using jack stance and you don't have a lift. But anyways, there are two more 10 millimeter bolts that hold the filter there, and once you remove that, I don't have, unfortunately, I wasn't able to record it. It's a tight space there. Once you remove the filter, expect some more to come out. You don't see it here. I'm just reenacting it, but anyways, more will come out of that hole there where the filter goes in. To replace the gasket, and then just press it all the way in, and then tighten the two 10 millimeter bolts. You can use the same torque spec as all the other bolts for the pan, which is, I believe, about 67 inch-pounds. And so oil will continue to drain a little bit here and there, and then so that's pretty much all that you have drained, and that's what you'll have to measure. And make sure that you thoroughly clean all the contact points between the pan and here. In this case, this car is about 57,000. It's got 57,000 miles, so it doesn't look bad at all. And then you remove the gasket and give the pan itself a good cleaning. Look for shavings, from the transmission gears, and then use some brake cleaner to thoroughly clean it. There are 4 magnets in these 4 locations, so clean the magnets too, and then place them. They're clearly marked on the bottom of the pan, as you can see, and replace the magnets. Then place a new gasket. You don't have to seal the gasket. Some people do. You don't. You just again, with a couple of bolts, hold it in place, and then tighten all of them by hand, and then using a torque wrench, torque all of them to 67 inch-pounds. You can go in a cross pattern and or any which way you want, but and once you have tightened everything, because there are so many of them, go over all of them one more time. So I'm gonna fast forward because I don't want this video to become very lengthy, but so there are just a whole bunch of them that you'll have to torque. So at this point, you have replaced the filter and drained the oil and measured it. And so pay attention to the next steps that are more critical. So At this point, replace the plastic filler, and you don't have to just make sure as soon as it stops, you keep turning. As soon as it stops, leave it alone. Just slightly hand tighten it because it may break, and then replace the plug, and you don't have to torque it at this point. And then using a fluid filler, there are a bunch of them in the market. The one I showed in the very beginning is the one I used. I think it was maybe $17 or so from Amazon, but it makes the job a lot easier. It comes with all kinds of cap adapters, so you can use 4-gallon containers, or 1-gallon containers, or 1-quart containers, or liter, or whatever. And so add what you measured out, as well as another, I would say, a liter to liter and a half, or a quart to a quart and a half. I would say, if you're not, you can put 3.5 quarts there, or more, and then turn the engine on and shift through all the gears, stopping at each for a second or two. And so this is where you might want to have a helper do that part while you're with a thermometer checking the temperature, because you may not have the tools. I have the Toyota software to check the temperature, but I'm doing it here with this laser thermometer. And I've done different tests, and I've noticed that if you point it close to the pan in different areas and get an average measurement, it comes to about 2 degrees. So what you'll see here is about 2 degrees less than what the Toyota software will show. So once you get to about 107 to 108 degrees, at that point, open the drain plug. So it really doesn't take very long, maybe a minute or two for it to, as soon as you turn on the engine, for it to get back to temperature. And as you know, or may know, the transmission oil expands as it heats up, and so that's why you want to do this, because as it expands, it goes over that plastic filler, and then so some of it comes out, and what you want to do is, so right now it's 104 degrees. I'm going to let it heat up a little more. As soon as it gets to about 108, I'm going to open the drain plug. And so there are tight tolerances for these transmissions. You want to get this part right. You let it drain, and as soon as you see it, not to where it gets to trickle, but right before, right there, you want to close it back up, because it will continue to trickle a little more, drain a little more, and then at this point you can actually torque the drain plug. Well, I believe this is 35 foot-pounds, and then the filler plug is 29 foot-pound. I'll double check, and I'll put that in the video. And then you can torque this too, and you're done. I hope you find this video of use, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.